Welcome to another episode of Empowering Empaths.
Hi,
Today
Caroline.
we are speaking about healthy boundaries, and so needed because as an empath, you're probably born without boundaries. I remember when kids are screaming, I always needed to go there. I always felt it all. And saying no to others is a hard thing. Sometimes empaths have unhealthy relationships because they try to help their partner, which don't want to be helped. Empath narcissist is a good combo cocktail, not so good. So today we share with you insights, tips, and all about healthy boundaries. Excuse me. My name is Caroline. I live in Switzerland in the heart of Europe. I'm an author, speaker, and heart flow healer, intuitive energy healing, and my gorgeous friend, Tina.
Hello. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Um, I'm Tina Skerrick. I'm here in the Pacific Northwest today. and I'm a energy intuitive, energy healer, and I'm an empowered empath, I'm proud to say. And I love this topic, Caroline. I absolutely love discussing boundaries. I think as an empath, establishing your boundaries is one of the most epic, beautiful gifts that you can give yourself. It's one of the most tremendous acts of self-love, I think, that an empath can give to themselves. I think as an empath, there's two things that go on for us. I think people are drawn to us, and without boundaries, our energy can be drained quite quickly. You know, people are drawn to us. We walk into a party, walk into a room, walk into a family dinner. Sometimes you're in the lineup at the grocery store and people are drawn to us. Their higher self feels, oh, okay, I can unload here. And that's what happens, right? And the next thing we know, we walk away feeling completely drained, and the other person walks away, well, I feel so much better. I just told them all about my problems and they feel wonderful. And you walk away feeling a little bit heavy-hearted. And I think as an empath, the second reason why I absolutely know that I need boundaries is because as an empath, we often avoid conflict. Right? We're often, it's not because we're too sensitive. It's not. That's just take that word out of the vocabulary. Too sensitive. It's nothing like that. But really, we don't want to go into the fight. We're not looking for the fight. That's not our higher purpose. That's not our call. That's not the soul call. So if we have healthy boundaries established and a real good understanding, I think it just paves the way for a calmer, smoother, and more self-fulfilling and empowering way to function.
That is so beautifully said, Tina. Absolutely, absolutely, because we draw it all in and people are drawn to us. We carry their burden. Sometimes we feel drained, or I used to feel drained and had no idea why. Or at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I was so exhausted. I thought I haven't done much. And this is all because we take in the energy, but also because, let's face it, we want to make people happy.
Absolutely.
Happy. Absolutely. And that sort of, if it comes to the detriment of our life, it's not healthy. And we can't truly fix everybody, but we can be the shining light. We can lead by example. And that's really something that sort of twisted my thinking. I think there was this thing, you can only be the lighthouse. You can't go out there and rescuing everybody on their boats. And I thought sort of, and sometimes you try to pull someone in who doesn't even want to be pulled in. They're happy, they're half drowning.
Guilty.
They don't want that. And you try to drag them in. But you can just shine the light. You can just be that lighthouse and guide people to their safe harbor. And this was sort of a liberating moment for me when I felt, oh, I don't have to go out there rescuing. I can just shine my light. Was there a sort of a moment
I was just
for
going to
you?
say, you know what the key for me was, Caroline, when I realized how much of an energy drain everything just was, because I was just boundaryless. And much like that, I was like, oh, without even knowing it, oh yeah, come over for coffee and have this conversation, have this coffee. And the next thing I know, everything's being unloaded, and like a sponge, absorbing it. And the other person would go home feeling great. And I'd walk away, 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, just wiped. So the first step for me, the key was realizing, okay, what is draining my energy? And that's the first key to empowerment, right? Is really getting to know myself and really embracing her and loving this spirit and loving the empath in me and really saying, okay, this is a beautiful, I was going to say gift, but it's just a beautiful attribute. It's a beautiful personality character to be an empath, to feel, that's just a really, really, really beautiful thing. So, but I needed to know first and foremost, okay, what is it that drains my energy? And then once I could understand, okay, what is it? It's conversations with people and they're kind of making fun of me, but they're doing it like a joke. But I'm not confident enough or strong enough or bold enough to put an end to it. That kind of situation, being interrupted a lot in a conversation because my personality is not one to override, right? Or to just say, no, this is a topic I need time to process. I'm not even going there, like just setting up these boundaries. So it took me a long time to realize, okay, what's draining my energy? And that changes like when, where, what's like different situations and what's happening in my world right now. Because if I'm in a different space sometimes, well, today that's actually not going to drain my energy, but yesterday it would. So it's tapping in often, very, very frequently with myself and thinking where, check the Tina barometer. Where is she at? And then based on that, okay, what's going to drain me today? So what am I going to allow and not allow for me today? In this particular situation, and then decide, okay, if I know I'm going in to a situation, or I know what I can handle today and what I can't handle today, okay, what boundaries are going to work for me today? So some days I can say, you know what, a little energy clearing, a few crystals in my pockets or in my brassiere, some energetic shielding, working with Archangel Michael, and I'm good to go. Other times, I know it might take a little bit more than that. I need to have an action plan, right? So sometimes it might be, for example, if I had a situation where I was selling my furniture because we were on a big move. And my husband was already in the US and I was back in Canada, and I was the one who was putting the stuff on Facebook and selling, but then I had to negotiate with people on price and so that was kind of hard for me. I had to be quite assertive, I had to be quite firm. These were all things that I was really struggling with. And I just had to, before I'd go into a negotiation, I had to set the limits and the boundaries of what I was going to allow, right? So knowing ahead of time what I'm going to do, or knowing, for example, if there is a heated conversation or a heated moment with someone, I'm allowed to remove myself. I give myself permission before I go into this conversation, knowing full well it could get charged. I'm going to remove myself and have the phrase ready to go, So I say to myself, I'm not going to say, I'm sorry, I need to. No, I'm not sorry for protecting myself. right? So firmly, I can say, I give myself permission to say, I'm going to leave now. I'm going to process whatever works for you, but have it practice in the mirror before you go if you have to. Have it set and use it if you got to get yourself out. And then, or responding to emails and things like that. If it's charged, you don't have to respond right away. Give it time for the charge to come out of it. Plan what you're going to say, think about it, and then go in so that you've pre-established the terms, right? The games, the rules of the game for you to benefit you, so you don't lose yourself in the whole.
The whole stress situation or in the reaction, it's sort of like, it's good to sort of take a step back and come back to yourself and then, okay, what is it that I need to do? And sometimes we don't even have to do anything. And I just remember the first time I said no, because I was always helping others. I was always there. I was always trying to make things work. And we had a parents' evening and we had to drive. It was about half an hour drive to the school. And then a mother said, oh, maybe we can go together because she lived close to where I live. And then I said, oh, yeah, okay. And she said, yeah, but I can't only go this time. I said, it's a bit late, then we're late. She said, yeah, but I can't go earlier. And I thought, and then I thought really not, then I come late and the parking is a problem. And then she even then said, yeah, and my husband will then come and we go back to home together. I said, and then my car is in the middle of nowhere. I have to walk all alone to the car. I get there too late. And I thought no, I want to be there from the beginning. I want to go right in time to have the parking. I don't want to wait around and then be late. And then I told that lady, I said, so, okay, look, I am leaving at whatever, 6:15, whatever time it was. If you're ready by then, come to my house, we can drive together. If not, I just want to be on time. In an I phrase, I want to be there on time. And she said, oh, no problem. Then I take my car. And I thought wow. Oh, that was easy because
so easy.
I felt she would then try to convince me or whatever. Right. No, she said, oh, no problem. I go by my own car. And this is just like
thing. In that whole thing, it's us, right? We're overcompensating because we're trying to avoid a conflict that wasn't even there, Caroline. We're trying to people please, which, okay, it's just, listen, the people pleasing, it's not a bad thing to care about what other people, their experience. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful attribute. The people pleasing becomes problematic when we sell ourselves out. When to please the other person, we put our needs and our wants underneath, right? But it's okay if I, by my own free choice and free will, in an empowered position, say, you know what, Caroline, I'm okay to be late because I would much rather spend the time in the car having a good laugh with you on our way there. And maybe in that situation, that's a beautiful example where another boundary you could have set was when you're worried then about afterwards, walking back to the car by yourself, you could say, and this is a big one for me, say what I want, say what my needs are. Would it be okay then as at the end as if your husband would walk me back to my car as well, or drive us back to our car, right? So these are the things that we need to learn as empaths is yes, set the boundaries, but also say what we want and don't overinflate the situation, because that's exactly what you did there. I can't even count how many times I've done that, Caroline. And then afterwards I realized that drama was kind of my own because they were fine with it. That was all my drama.
Yeah, and it's the same with clients, or when someone asks, oh, when can you do? And you go, oh, maybe this or that, or maybe not a time. And then it's sort of like, yeah, here and
Yeah.
all the time, whatever serves you. And they go, so yeah, but, and then you have sensitive clients, so they don't want to bother you. But if you just give them 2 or 3 set times, tomorrow at 2 or at 4, and that's good. And then they have clarity and can easier pick or choose. Of course, we have now all those online calendar systems that
Calendly and all
exactly
that.
books it. But beforehand, it was sort of a back and forth. And I realized that, and I actually realized it when others were that way, that I didn't like it. I wanted clarity. I wanted, and I thought sort of, okay, that's what my clients want to, clarity, this or that. And they can still say, oh no, this doesn't work. Do you have another one? And then you can go back and say, okay, maybe this one. But it's that clarity, that boundaries bring. And I think, but foremost, we have to find clarity within. What is
Step
it that
one.
I want? Exactly. What is it that I need? Or what is it that drains me? And
that's
also,
the thing.
What doesn't bring me joy? How many things do I do during the day that I do for, I don't know who or what for, but they don't bring me joy. And then you have to think sort of, are they necessary? Can I delegate them if it's a task, or can I share it with something, or can I lift it up? And I think that's also that. Exactly.
I'm allowed to say no. This is why I say it's an act of self-love, because I'm allowed to say no. I'm allowed to say, I give myself permission to say, today that's not going to work for me. And, if that means I'm feeling drained, I'm feeling tired, my back is hurting, whatever, I can say, you know what, I can't go for lunch today, or I can't make it to the gym today. It's okay. As long as I'm honest and I'm kind and I'm speaking from my heart, then it's I know I keep saying, but I give myself permission to say no. And it's not selfish. It is not selfish to put yourself first, and to say,
or maybe a healthy dose of selfishness, because it's
I like
for
that.
self. It's for self.
How many times in the past I drained myself and I put what I really wanted to do, and I'm telling you, sometimes it was, I just wanted to stay home, have a cup of coffee, tidy the house, do some stuff with the kids, but a calm day at home. And I would say, I would put my thing on the back burner because someone else said, oh, let's take the kids and do this. But it felt like too much for me, but I would still go. And by the end of it, I would be drained, tired, and actually annoyed with the person. Yet it wasn't really them, it was me.
And then annoyed with your own kids, huh?
Yep. But it was me. I gave my power away. So call yourself back, right? And with clients and other people, Caroline, you know what, the big one for me there was the realization, what is meant for me will never pass me. So if we each believe that and hold that truth, right? Spirit will never let it go past. If it's true, meant for me, it'll come to me. So if today, Caroline, you can't see me, but if we're really meant to connect and we're supposed to have a healing together, we'll connect. Universe will put us, source, God, creator, we'll come together, right? And in that beautiful knowing, that truth, I can find calm in that. Exactly. I really genuinely can find calm and power in that.
Yeah, it's again with the trust. I think that just trusting in life and trusting in oneself. And
I was just going to say, trusting myself.
Yeah, and doing that. And 2 weeks ago, I was really, really down with sinus infection, and I had to cancel so many things, and I had to go of shan't I, because and I thought sort of, no, it's just not possible. And even if I see a client, I'm doing a disservice. I can't give my best. And in the morning I let my youngest go to school, closed the door, went back to bed, slept another 4 hours. And it was
Guilt-free.
so
I hope
needed.
guilt-free.
Absolutely. It was so needed. And it was so beautiful to just let go and surrender and just be. And I thought sort of, this was actually great. I mean, it was needed. I needed that nurturing, that looking after myself, that not doing anything. Laundry can wait. And I still had some leftovers I could reheat. So there's always a way. But sometimes we are sort of stuck. It has to be a certain way. Like, for example, before my divorce, when I was still married, it was sort of, it always had to be fresh dinner, fresh vegetables, fresh cooked. And then afterwards, when I was going through the divorce and I felt so exhausted, and I was sort of, and then I bought frozen vegetables and I felt so guilty. But actually, it's great. It's done in 5-10 minutes. And it helped me so much in my energy level, in coordinating the day. But sometimes we put our levels so high up for whatever reasons, and it's okay. It's okay to do less.
You know,
so
the thing, it's so okay. And one thing is, my self-worth does not come from how much I drain myself. My self-worth does not come from how tired I am because I gave, or my self-worth doesn't come from, because I bit my tongue and I didn't express myself, right? My self-worth comes from how much I honor myself. And so that's a really, especially now going into, we're kind of going to the holiday season, a lot more family get-togethers. The potential there for an empath to really just, get steamrolled, is pretty high. So I would strongly suggest tap in, give yourself a hug, know you're worth it, and start setting up some of the boundaries, right? So you can say, hey, I know I'm going to say no to a certain outing because I know a certain person is going to be there and it's going to be charged, and I don't want that in my world today. And no guilt, no shame. And when you say it, you don't have to be nasty or unkind, nor do you have to be apologetic for taking care of yourself, right?
Yeah, and like with so much, I mean, we celebrate Christmas, and the best Christmas was always when just the four of us, my 3 kids and I. And I established that. I said, so the 24th, it's just for us. And then my sisters or my mom is okay to see on another day. But I have many clients, they have to struggle between their family and the in-laws and everybody. And
not all families, and not everybody gets along. There's a lot of different personalities, and
they travel 14 hours one way to come back to travel the other way to make everybody happy. And
if you
they
want
forget
to
about
do
themselves.
That's right. And if you want to do it, that's beautiful. Embrace it and do it with joy. But if you do not want to do it and it's draining you, give yourself permission to say, not this year, right? No, tap into your divine worth and remember, wait a minute, I'm worthy. I deserve this break too.
Yeah, and also tap into yourself and ask yourself, how would my magical, wishful holidays look like? What would I truly want to do? Where would I be joyful? How would it look? Who would be there? What would we eat? Sometimes we cook many meals, but sometimes it's always the small things that count. But if you love to cook, do that. But if you feel like always stressed of buying, cooking and everything, do something simpler and do it the way you like. It doesn't have to exclude something, but create that safe haven just for you to recharge and yeah, and expand that. I think it steps, healthy boundaries is also, it starts with, and sometimes we have them very tight, and sometimes we can then go a little here, but it takes with one step, one saying no, and then you realize it's so easy. People are not offended. They actually, they respect you. Next one, next one.
I was just, as you were saying, I was saying not only what you want to do, but with whom.
Mm-hmm.
So establish that. If you set the boundary and say, I don't, perhaps there's a certain friend who, when you get together, there's a passive aggressiveness or there's something going on there, and you say, I don't want to be treated this way. I don't want to speak about this certain topic, or something simple like, I don't want to have coffee with you if you're going to criticize me or criticize my clothes or my hair or whatever it is. When you establish a boundary, for example, right now, conversations can be very polarizing with what's going on in the world. And you might say, you know what? I don't want to sit down with you, Uncle Larry, if we're going to discuss politics. So we can set the boundary and say, we're going to have a beautiful family dinner. We're not going to talk about politics. We can say this. And if it gets disrespected and blown past, you can also say, I'm going to remove myself. Or if you know Uncle Larry is not going to respect the boundary, don't go or don't invite. It gets a little bit tricky, the don't invite, because I understand that you can ruffle feathers and that becomes, but what we need to start to say to ourselves is, okay, holidays are a little bit different because they get a little bit more charged. But in general, you can decide with whom you're going to interact. And if the person you're trying to establish boundaries with disrespects the boundaries, then you really need to stop and say, then is this a person I want in my inner circle? Is this a person I want in my sacred space? Is this a person I want to continue a relationship with? Right? So this is now, and you have every authority to say, I don't think so.
And the good thing is, they drizzle away, because
They
if they
really
can't get from you what they're used to, it dissolves itself. We don't even, we can do that in a very loving way, in a
very
self-loving
gentle
way.
release.
And that's it. And we all have those draining relationships or that draining friend. And we can just, let it drizzle away. We don't always have to be available. We are available for ourselves, exactly, and for our direct family, our children and partner, of course. But outside of that, even there, we don't always have to be available,
No.
But
no,
it's just let it go.
And with
let it go,
loving,
its course.
and with love and with kindness and gentle,
Mm-hmm.
right? If that's what feels good to you, then that's how we do it, right? And oftentimes you shift the energy once you start establishing some boundaries. Sometimes that's just, I'm not going to respond right away to that person's text but I know that if I don't respond right away, they're going to make a comment. But start setting up little boundaries, right? So now, maybe for the first time you say, I'm not going to respond right away. I'm going to wait an hour. And then, the comment still comes, ignore the comment. And then the next time they text, I'm going to wait a day. I'm going to wait half a day. And the comment still comes, ignore it. Eventually, the energy shifts and that person starts to realize, I'm not getting from it anymore, and they go somewhere else, right? Sometimes you have to speak up and say no, but for the most part, you're right, Caroline, it moves on. You clear the way, choose you as opposed to choosing them.
And especially with friends, we have to be aware that like in everything, but we have to make space for new friends. So it's okay when old ones pass on. We're not we're not together with our kindergarten friends or our primary school friends. Maybe we have one good friend, we are still together, but not everybody is our friend. And that's making that space and trusting that new like-minded friends come along. And a beautiful, beautiful flower to call in like-minded friends is a gerbera. So you can either get gerberas or you can get a picture from the internet and look at it and tap into the energy of that flower to just call in like-minded friends. Because as empaths, we often feel misunderstood, and we might have a harder time finding the right friends because maybe we cling on to the old that feels sort of it's just the way it
feels
is.
Familiar. We've always done it.
And also what I learned, 10-15 years ago, I stopped gossip. And I told friends, no, I don't want to gossip because I don't need to know what you think about your neighbor. I don't want that. And even I have 2 sisters, they're twins, identical twins. And one sister was calling me to complain about the other one. As I said, stop it right there. I don't need to hear that. If you have to say something, call her. That's it. As simple as that.
Own it.
Exactly. And it stopped.
Caroline,
really stopped.
That's amazing. That's exactly when we teach people, that we hear this all the time. We teach people how to treat us, and we show people what we're going to tolerate. So what we tolerate, what we allow, where that line is, people will go right up to it. And if you don't definitely clear that and show, okay, I'm not going to allow the gossiping, right? They're just going to keep bumping into it. But once you very clearly define and say, I'm not going to do it, guys, then you've shown them, okay, I'm not going to do it, right? And how we treat ourselves is how people are going to treat us. So if I don't exploit myself and I don't drain myself and I honor myself and I honor the divine within me and I take care of myself and I take care of my needs and I actually tap in and know what my needs are, because for a long time I didn't, other people will automatically treat me the same way, right? Because I won't allow certain behaviors.
Exactly.
And this can all be done gently. This is not a fight. This can all be done with love, from a place of love. But that's why I say boundaries is such a gift of love that the empath gives themselves, right? The ultimate gift of self-love.
I love that. And I think with this is the perfect ending to this session.
Beautiful.
Healthy boundaries are the ultimate gift of self-love. So, yes. Thank you so much, Tina.
Thank you, Caroline.